All right, so I'm going to show you the full pipeline for document remediation. First, we just go straight through the startup wizard and go to just input any document. Now you can see here, you can change the settings and configure what you want. I'm going to put an academic for the style. There are a lot of different things you can adjust. The default, it works very well. You can see you can also load previous projects if you want to do things in batches. Okay, I'm going to press on and remediate. Now you can see here it does feature your agency organization pretty thoroughly, but of course I'm open to any adjustments that you would like. I did want to make sure that it discusses both the rationale for WCAG 2.1 AA accessibility level, and also gives your contact info right from the get-go. So even if they do find that this meets their needs, it's important for them to just know about Knowbility and what you offer, because it could be that they may want you for a completely different project. So here you can see that it's adding to extra audits. Basically, if the scores don't line up very neatly, it will try to get a little bit of extra certainty. But what it's doing is it's basically on behind the scenes running Gemini to audit whether it seems to be accurate. And this is basically telling you how close is it to the WCAG standards from the get-go. So it does take a little bit of time, but this is the initial step. Okay, so we have this PDF, and I could show you the PDF if you want. You'll get to see later. But it has a 53 out of 100. Now, this does use a blend of AXCore, and the AXCore score is actually fairly high at the get-go. Then the AI, Gemini, actually found a bunch of issues. It lists the critical issues here. And you know what? While I'm showing you that, I'm going to just press fix and verify, because that's the part that takes a while. Okay, so let's look at what it identified. I know that you wanted it to have a pretty good rubric that it's going off of. So first, this is the reliability metric. This is basically Gemini confidence interval. So how much are all of these scores lining up? You could see some are a little bit lower, some are 18, but most of them do fall like at least somewhat within the same range. It's pretty typical for scores that are low to have that kind of inconsistency. And you can have actually a standard deviation, Cronbach's alpha. So we could use some of those statistics for research, and it's all part of the process without any extra effort. So it does explain the critical issues. You probably would know a lot more about what these mean than I do. I'm still learning, but it's really helpful if you are trying to get a better sense of like what does accessibility actually entail. And sorry, I'm just making it a little bigger for you so it's easier to see. There also are moderate issues, minor issues. This is something that I'm still kind of honing, but essentially if you don't want to do the full document all at once, you can do it in batches. That's actually helpful because really this is quite an extensive process. Even for just 15 pages, it could take like 40 minutes or so. And I'll probably pause just so you don't have to wait that whole time, or I could show you some other things in the meantime. But essentially, while it's running, you do get to see more about Knowbility, and that's why I think we could have a really good partnership together. It does explain the deadline. It also okay. So here's the first thing that happens, and it did this all as part of the process. It extracted these pictures, which are in the original PDF. And it basically is finding all of the pictures and then adding alt text to them so that you are able to edit if you need to add anything that you think is helpful. But essentially, it just shows you what is already there in the beginning, and then you could just pop it back in. So it extracts it, and then it's really easy to insert it. You could even make adjustments with Gemini. It's image-to-image editing, if you like. So this also does have more about what you do. Now, there is something I'll show you in a bit. So it's using pdf.js, which basically allows it to see what is the verbatim text from the original PDF, so that if it does drop any of the text, it's really easy to see, and then you can just add it back in. So I'll show you that once we get done with the remediation. Right now, it's still going through the process. It does actually also tell you and explain what it's doing. And right now, it's still early in the stage. You could see step 2 of 4, but once it gets it further along, it will explain like exactly all of the different steps that are involved. Now, you also can get these reports, and they do come in different formats. I'm just going to do PDF. So you could see that this is really helpful if you want to get more information about what's going on underneath the hood. So it's also for that rubric. It gives you a count of each error. It also, let me make it a little bigger. It gives you an idea of how critical the issues are. So some are serious, some are moderate. It's basically just a more detailed version of what I showed you before. But then part of the rubric also includes the passing checks, because that's really important, right? Like, you could be doing a lot right, and I want to give PDFs or whoever, credit for what is going on that's good. So this shows you everything that's excellent, and it also explains the scoring methodology. Of course, I would love to work with you if you can think of ways to refine the scoring methodology, so it has it aligns more with like what you actually do. I'm fine. I'm fine to make any adjustments you recommend. Basically, the critical errors, serious errors, moderate, minor, are deductions, and then the passes offset some of the point deductions. And you can see the formula here. So again, I would love to get your input on that. So let's go and see where
you
things
can
are
export
at.
all these resources as a single PDF packet.
Don't mind that. That's AlloBot, the little AI helper. Like I said, it's going to take a while for this to go. We're already 6 minutes in, still in step 2. So I'm going to show you a little bit about the main app for a moment. Actually, before that, let me show you something else I think you'll find interesting. So this is the STEM Lab, and it has all these different tools that teachers can incorporate into their generated lessons. So a lot of these things are pretty nuanced, but I want to show you the Digital Accessibility Lab. My idea is like students might actually be able to learn more about accessibility from a digital perspective. So I have an example website here, USM. That's my alma mater. So I'm just going to plug this in. And essentially it runs a similar pipeline where you can actually see like how much it meets or aligns with WCAG. So it does the audit. There also is, okay, great. See, and it's really fast too, because it basically is able to do it right away with the HTML. You actually, so this is not using HTML, it's using just its own analysis, but you can input the HTML. You can also use it for social media posts, screenshots, government, school, so and PDFs, of course. It just runs the same pipeline. So this is good if maybe you want to show as a student or educator or advocate, like what are the issues, and then they could run it through the pipeline, or they could show it to you or another agency to actually get the adjustments they need. This also has like learning tools, so you can learn more about all the different aspects of WCAG, and it tells you more about mobility. Now, of course, I would remove this if you don't want to partner with me. That's totally fine. And no one's using this yet, so don't worry about that. But basically, it just explains your programs, accessibility, how to get involved, and it does have links and volunteer. I think that your mission is really important, so I'm happy to expand this even further and give more insight about the work you do and how students can get involved in improving accessibility for everyone. So one thing is that this might be something that some people would feel a little bit iffy about. It does potentially put pressure on agencies to work to get accessibility. But I do think that, students have a right to be able to easily make complaints to the appropriate authorities, organizations, to make sure that things are being done correctly. So basically, this would allow you to generate from the initial issues that were spotted. So I could do University of Southern Maine. And I can't, access the website easily, and then generate. And then it should basically explain the issues that were found and file it to the appropriate one. So here you go. So essentially, and then you could copy that. So that's just one possibility. Again, I'm happy to change anything that you feel it would be helpful or good to change. But I thought it'd be cool for students to become their own auditors, like kind of digital citizens. So there are a lot of other things. I would love to get your feedback on a lot of these tools. I know Canvas in general is very hard to actually make WCAG compliant. So, I did try to use like a screen reader feature to make that possible. But you get the sense here that there is a lot going on. This is just one of, numerous tools. All right, I do want to show you a little bit more about the main pipeline while we're waiting. So I'm just going to do Common Core standards, main ideas. You can pick any topic and any standard for this. So basically, AlloFlow in itself is not just about the remediation. I'm going to pick that. It's also about creating lessons that are essentially WCAG compliant by default. So I'll just show you a little bit of what that pipeline looks like. And of course, you could look at it at your own leisure. So one other thing is that, here, let's see how this is doing. All right, so still going, but you could see here now it has a lot more info about what part of the process it's at. It's actually pretty close to done already. So it's been about 15 minutes. Okay, back here, it's still generating the text, but once the text is generated, that's when the fun happens, because it's not just about what it's creating here, it's about all the things you could do with it. So this is done. I'm going to analyze the source material now, and keep in mind it's using Google search, and this does check for the accuracy to make sure that everything is really high quality, and you can edit anything as the user. So it's not really like you're limited to what the AI generates. You actually have a lot of flexibility. Really, the human in the loop, I think, is critical. I don't believe that we should just take AI output at face value. We have to continue expanding, improving, refining as educators. But it does give you a nice text complexity. This is a qualitative analysis. This is the Flesch
Analysis
score.
complete. I've detected a reading level around 4th to 6th grade. I identified 10 key concepts.
All right, so this is the verified facts. You can click on any of these links. It will take you to where it's pulling from. And a lot of it's really nice, because I do believe in digital literacy. We should be able to confirm by ourselves what the sources are actually from. And you can see it does find high quality sources. So that's the very beginning. Now I'm going to kind of do the quick and easy way. You just press autofill settings after you click on AlloBot, and then press pack or type pack.
I've detected source material, the water cycle.
Now it's going to ask me how many resources. I'm going to do auto, which lets it decide. So this is pretty good for basically designing a lesson blueprint. And
designing a auto resource lesson blueprint.
Normally
you'll be able to.
Okay, sorry, it's going quickly. Normally, you would have to do all of this generation yourself.
Here is your lesson blueprint. You can modify it by typing below, egg, add a quiz, change grade to 5th, or click Generate Plan.
But I'm going to just see what it does by itself. So you could see it created this whole plan, and then I just press Generate Plan. I can also edit it by pressing this and change any of what it found as key concepts, key vocabulary. And I could use text to change it. For now, I'm just going to press generate. So now it's kind of working through it and figuring out, okay, I'm going to basically generate an entire lesson for the user. And this is really helpful because it really takes just a few minutes. You could grab coffee and do whatever you need to do. Teachers, as you know, are quite busy. And here's the really nice thing. It's not just to be used inside of the app. You can print it as a PDF, and it creates all these great printable resources. But you can also turn it into a fully accessible HTML too. So that's that generative output being accessible.
This text has been adapted for easier reading. Try the Close tool or click any word for its definition.
So you can see here it's working on the text. And let's see on the other tab how it's doing. Okay, cool. So you could see it's gone through. Oh, it just finished. Okay, so I think I'll show you this now. To bear in mind, I'm going to actually mute it here because otherwise we're going to hear Allobot talking our ears off. Okay, so you can see it's not perfect, but it went from 53 to 87. Now that's a blend. Its axe score went up 10 points, so it's meeting most of those standards, and you can run it again. And the also the AI scores remarkably improved. So 26 to 84. This is, probably WCAG compliant. Or another possibility is maybe they sends you the PDF or whatever, just for these little issues that my pipeline couldn't fix. So instead of, 50, 20 problems or whatever it started with, you got maybe 4 problems at the end. That really lightens your load. And by the way, I have no issue if you get requests for PDF remediation. You could use this tool. I don't care. It's open source, so it's available for everyone. Okay, but here's the thing. I can do a lot with this. First, I have the expert workbench, so I can actually tell it what I want to change if there are the things that it doesn't do right. Let's also look at the compare. This shows us the original, and it shows us the improved version. So this is the original. You can see pretty standard PDF. It's got those images. This is the improved version so far. Now, I say so far because this is not where we have to end. This is just, and you can see it's got these placeholders, which we're going to fill in a moment. So, looks pretty much the same, right? But that's not good enough. We need to actually confirm. I'm going to press diff. This is really helpful because this was the issue that I was finding that I only was able to address recently. Anything it adds, it puts here. And you can actually take out the things it added or change it. And anything it removes inappropriately, like this, I have no idea why it removed it because it looks like it's just part of the text. You could actually put it back in. So I'll show you how to do that now. All I have to do is highlight and then do reject selection. So now it's back in, and I can do apply and export. There you go. So let's scroll down just to see. See, it's back in. So now we go back to the pipeline, and I'm going to do preview and edit. So now you can see we've got a lot of neat features here. Let's go to this. Okay, so now you can see all these extracted images are here. I'm going to actually, you can upload something new, or I could just drag and drop. I'm not exactly sure which one is this. Global shelf. Okay. I probably should look more carefully, but you see it's that easy. All I have to do is just plug it in there. Not sure if that was the right picture, but I could check it in theory. There you go. So you get your images back. So it pretty much turns out to be similar, or exactly the same. And you don't need the placeholder. That's more of a visual reference. I could put the images anywhere, by the way. Now, I also am able to see what it would be like with a screen reader, and also highlight all of the things that, so like the headers. It's getting a little cut off, but that's, it does have this nice legend for us. And you can add anything. So I'm going to take this off for a sec. I can put in word art, which is kind of neat. Now, word art isn't always perfect for accessibility, but I made sure that it's pretty standard. But then you also have these layout and designs. And the nice thing is that instead of needing to like add the remediation later, if you do any of these, you have to fill it out, of course. But you can actually, it is compliant by default. So where'd it go? Might be because I didn't fill it out. Sorry about that. But you can put in quotes. And then that will work. You can put in info boxes. So really the idea is that the user is fully in control. They can use this at the very beginning, or they could use it later. So they could start with something in here, or they can remediate. And basically, you have all these configurations. I'm pretty satisfied with it, but of course, if you found things that you found could be improved, I would love to work with you more to see like how we can get even further to the next level. So I'm going to exit remediation now. You can also do certain things. You can change the language. You can change the text complexity. I'm not going to do that now because it does take a few minutes. You can also run the pipeline again. So even though I only got an 87 now, if I ran it again, it would probably take another 20 minutes or so. But you could easily get it to 90 and above. So even if it doesn't get on the first pass, it doesn't mean like, oh, I'm stuck with this. You could actually easily get it fully compliant just through this, and maybe just with some little touches that might be needed by a human. So I'm going to show you, if we go to save project, let's say I was like in the middle, or maybe like I want to go back to this remediation. You could do it that way. And now I'm going to go back to preview and edit, and I'm going to actually turn it into a PDF. So I just do either save as HTML or save as PDF. And now you can see it's here. And I guess I have to plug that. I won't do that now, but let's see. Okay, so I think I needed to save it before, but I'll just show you this for now. So I'll make sure that's fixed so that those. All right, so sorry to blip. So essentially, you get the PDF here. You can save it. I'm doing a little bit of tweaking, but pretty much it's working. So you just save it. You get the PDF, and then try it with a screen reader and see what happens. It does work. So I have tested that and was pretty happy to see like it does the screen reader correctly. You can also try out the screen reader. So I have something here to simulate it, and it shows you like how it's organized. And that, skip to content. And you can even play the audio. It probably would take forever to load, or not forever.
Main content landmark.
Okay, never mind.
Chapter 1. Introduction. Planet, Oceans, and Life. Contributors: Peter Harris, lead member and convener. Joshua Tuhumwire, co-lead member.
Now I'm just going to pause it for a second. You can see it's pretty good, or here, it's pretty good text to speech. That's because it's using Gemini's neural text-to-speech, which is very, very high quality, because it's not typical. It's actually generative, with an LLM like in the background. So that's really nice because it's not just for simulating the screen reader, although that's great too, but I can also press download audio. And the nice thing about download audio is it takes the whole PDF, with all the formatting and such, and turns into text to speech. So if you don't want to use a screen reader, or you want to make it really easy for your vision impaired individuals, you just press download audio. They can, you can have that as part of whatever you're sharing, and they can listen in with that high quality voice in pretty much any language, or at least hundreds of languages. Okay, so that's my spiel. I do also want to show you what the full pipeline looks like for just the regular AlloFlow, if you're going to generate resources with it. So, you've got a lot of different sections, and there's a lot going on.
Don't forget to save your work.
I'm not going to show you all of it right now, but you see you've got close. So that's for putting in the different words, this process. So it's like a lot of games that you can do within. And you have this multilingual glossary, and it has pictures. Of course, it might not always do it perfectly, so you can just regenerate the images if it doesn't. But these get added to the text for other resources. So essentially, if I don't know a word, you just hover over it, and it tells you. So going back, there are a lot of different games and activities, and I know this may be challenging to audit. I did actually work pretty hard, and I have a VPAT to show the full audit, and I do think it's aligned, actually. It took a lot of time to just focus on that. You've got your visual organizers, and you can do interactive games with them. So, this way, you can see if they're really getting the concepts. You get the idea. You have visual supports, and you can move labels around. Separation. And I didn't really do any of this. It pretty much did all of it itself, but I can't refine anything. So I can remove labels, tell it to change the picture in any way I need. There's also concept sorting. So essentially, similar idea. I don't really know this too well, but they do check answers and see if they got it right, essentially, at the end once they fill it up. There's a lot more. I do have quizzes, and you could do that with the students in a lot of different ways. There's writing scaffolds. So you get the idea. I know that's not really as much your purview, although it's a little bit of a taste of what I would actually need audited for the app itself. Here's the part that relates to what you I think are most interested in. So you go to Documents, and then I could go to PDF. Oh, actually, it might be getting confused because no, this is right. So this is basically all of the resources. Okay, that might need to tweak a little bit. Sorry, there are definitely a few things here that, like, visually I can enhance a little bit more. But you get the idea. This is all printable, right? So you don't necessarily have to, and you could even, like, without internet, have students complete this stuff at home, potentially. So you can share as an HTML, and it should be, drum roll please. Oh, okay. So it should be compliant. I would have to, there it is, there. Sorry, I lost track of the button. So pressing this, oh, that's funny. Okay, so the inspector seems to be kind of disappearing right after in this mode. It's there though, you could kind of see, like, just it's kind of disappearing. So that's a little glitch I have to fix. But it is compliant. Use it with a screen reader. You will see it is categorized and labeled correctly to meet those standards, at least, I would love for your input on that too. I'm saying it's compliant, but you're the experts here. That's why I'm contacting you. So, they would download the PDF and save it, and you got this nice little lesson ready to go. And there's a lot of flexibility in here too. So, going back to this, if I were to go to the document builder, there's also some other things you can do. EPUB, I have to check how that goes, but you might be interested in electronic braille. So I can't read braille, obviously, but pretty cool, right? Okay, I know you're probably not going to watch more than 30 minutes, if even, so hopefully you'll get through this whole thing. I appreciate your time. I hope this is interesting to you. I hope that we could partner together, and I look forward to hearing back from you. Have a great day.